lovely lean girls, and welcome to the Lean Girl YouTube channel. I am pumped about today's video because it is on a topic that I haven't chatted too much about, and it's something that I am currently in the midst of. It is something I have been doing for the last couple of months after my wedding. It is something I've promised myself that I was going to commit to for a good few months, and it is a pretty new space for me personally. And so today's video is going to be around lean bulking. And so if you are in a space where you have perhaps lost some fat and you still don't feel like you are looking like super toned or super lean or super hard, then perhaps this video might be for you and you might learn a couple of things, and it might just push you and give you that little nudge you need to move into a lean bulking or a lean building phase. Now, if you're not aware yet, lean muscle is responsible for giving us that lean, toned, hard look. So if you're one of those girls, and that used to be me, to be like, I don't want any muscle, I just want to lose fat and be shredded. And often when we get to that place where we are skinny, you kind of realize, now I'm just kind of like bone and skin, and it ain't that cute either in a bikini. And this is often when we start thinking about, cool, well, like clearly there's something else missing. And this is where lean muscle comes in. Now, for women, it is really hard and it takes a seriously long time to build lean muscle. Like, if you are lucky, the rate of building lean muscle, if you gain 2 to 3 kilos in a year, in 12 months, this will be a phenomenal result. Like, I will send you a bunch of flowers and a lean girl cook, and I will congratulate you, because that is how challenging it is, even if you are doing all of the right things. And here's the thing, when you start doing weight training and you start eating enough protein and you start losing fat, especially in the beginning, it is quite possible to lose fat and build muscle simultaneously. But as you get more advanced in your training and as your journey progresses, it becomes more and more difficult to gain muscle when you're eating in a calorie deficit. And this was me for a long period of my life. So in a nutshell, this is kind of where my journey went. So when I was younger, I was pretty overweight. I think I weighed around 80 kilograms at the age of like 13, 14. So I was pretty overweight as a child. And I then, in my late teens, I started dieting. And as soon as I started losing weight, everyone was telling me how great I looked. You look amazing. You just want to go more and more and more and more. And I then started losing a lot more weight, and I actually got to the point where I was pretty unhealthy and I was very much skin and bone. And because it was so drastic and so fast and pretty extreme, I lost a lot of lean muscle, or any lean muscle that I had. So I wasn't starting off a very good base. And then I couldn't maintain that for very long because it was very restrictive. And I then fluctuated up and down between probably from 18 to the age of like 25, 26, I was always yo-yoing up and down, doing different diets. And I never really focused on weight training. I never focused on protein intake. And I never really felt happy with my body because I always had a bit of fat. Even when I got skinny, I was still very soft and very flabby. And I never still felt confident in my body. And then only, when I really started getting into the science of nutrition and training and really figuring out what it was all about. And at the end of the day, our bodies are biological machines, which means there is a method, there is a science to building them in the most optimal way. And this is what I teach in my Lean Body Lab program and throughout a lot of my content that I share here on the channel as well. And so this, building lean muscle has always been something that I've been focusing on. But as I mentioned a little earlier, when you are not eating enough food and when you're permanently in a calorie deficit, your body is not in the most optimal place to build lean muscle. And as I said, it's slow already. So if we want to do one or the other, you can't optimize losing fat and gaining muscle at the same time. If you think about, one is spending and one is saving. You could do a little of both, but neither you really optimizing. So before my wedding, I thought to myself, you know what, I'm happy with my body. I'm not unhappy in any way. It's now just small fine tweaks, and something I've really wanted to do for a while is do a proper lean bulking phase. So lean bulking essentially means moving into a maintenance or slight surplus phase where you are pushing your food up and you are training really hard in the gym, focusing on progressive overload. Progressive overload is increasing weights, sets, reps over time. Unfortunately for us women that have always been dieting and have had such a huge focus on fat loss, wow, this is really mentally challenging, because for such a long time I have been so brilliant at staying lean. Fat loss for me, and because this is something that I teach because I've managed to master it so well, it is so effortless for me, and it is also very rewarding because fat loss, you can start seeing the changes. And when you're building lean muscle, because it is so slow, you often feel like you are doing a lot of hard work and there aren't crazy changes like you would see, you know, every week, every 2 weeks. When you're losing fat, you can see either the numbers are dropping on the scale or you're feeling better, you're looking a little bit leaner. And when you're doing a lean bulk, it's not the same, okay? And you don't get that little endorphins rush every time you see progress. It's like you are basically doing the opposite of what you've been trying to do for however long you've been in a fat loss phase. So every single part of your being is like, hold on, you should be back in a deficit, honey, if your pants are feeling a little tighter. And you have to be really mentally strong to be able to say, listen, I know the end game. I know what I'm doing this for. And so what I wanted to share with you in this video is 5 tips that if you are considering going into a lean bulking phase, or maybe you're still in a fat loss phase and eventually you know that you want to do a lean bulking phase, then I think that you will really enjoy these couple of tips. And I hope that I will do some more content on this as well as I progress in my own journey that I can share and help you guys with. And I am working silently in the background on a lean building program as well for those of you who are done your fat loss phase and you're like, cool, Ange, I am ready to go all in on the lean bulking and building a decent amount of muscle. So just in terms of a snapshot on where I am at the moment, so it was my wedding in November, and since the wedding I have been doing a lean bulking phase, so I'm going up on 3 months now. And as I mentioned, it has been challenging in a new way. Everyone thinks, oh, you know, more food, it's gonna be amazing. And with that comes a hell of a lot of challenges. So with that, I have currently gained 2.5 kilos in the 3 months or so, 2.5 kilos. I'll put my little MyFitnessPal scale weight up there so you can see what I've been tracking. Yeah, as I said, you can definitely feel the difference, especially coming off from my wedding where I did a bit of a cut pre-wedding and I felt really lean and I felt really good. And yeah, as I said, then I also went into the December period, which was a little bit more tricky because I also had a couple of days where I was definitely way over in a surplus. And normally when I'm in, you know, a maintenance phase, I would very easily just have a few days at a deficit and everything would be cool and I would balance out again. So now I was in a surplus on all the days, and then I was in like a bigger surplus on all of the indulgent days too. So I think that didn't help my mental space because I just started feeling, yeah, really not myself. But that also takes time and that eventually will normalize. So before I ramble on too long, let me get into my 5 top tips when starting to lean bulk. Okay, so the first and most important tip is to remember and write down your why. Because let me tell you, you're gonna have some tough days. I want you to expect that. It is not gonna be all peaches and roses, and you are definitely gonna have days where you're gonna have to send Ange a DM to be like, Ange, this lean bulking's not for me. I wanna hit back my deficit. And then you need to know your why, and you need to remember why you are doing this. Building more lean muscle is going to help you have more shape. It is gonna help you be more toned, more firm, more defined. The more muscle you have, the more lean you actually look when you do cut as well, because there is that definition between the muscle and the less fat. That's not even scientific. So the more muscle you actually build, the leaner you become when you cut. So that is another good reason to do it. The third reason to do it is the more muscle you have on your frame, the more calories you burn just moving around. And we are all for more calories, right? So that will actually essentially bump up your maintenance calories the more muscle you build slowly and slowly over time. So that's another reason to do it. And I guarantee you now, if you have a solid muscle building phase, and then perhaps you do a little bit of a cut, because that's what's gonna happen. I want you to know that it's not gonna be all muscle. You will definitely gain a little bit of fat, and you have to get your head around that. I'm getting my head around that. So if you see me looking not as lean, you girls know why. The girl's bulking. So you will gain a little bit of fat, but it's not gonna be massive amounts, because this also doesn't mean you just eat free for all, but we'll get into that in a second. I want you to find like the most inspo picture, and I want you to put it on your phone screen, and I want you to remember, this is my why. This is why I'm doing it. I want to be stronger. And that's another reason. The amazing amount of strength gains you will get in the gym. Like, I have been working so hard on my pull-ups, but because I've always been riding on a deficit, maintenance maybe, I have not been able to get there. Guys, if I tell you how much more energy I have, how much more strength I have every single week, I'm improving. That is another reason to do it. Your body is just going to be thriving, and you're also gonna have so much more energy just for life in general, which is also an unbelievable feeling. So number one, remember your why. Number two, be prepared that the scale is going to go up. I'm telling you, don't be surprised. I know it is freaking scary. It is like the opposite of what we want to see. And let me tell you a little secret. Maybe you just can't get on the scale. Because for so many of us that have been addicted to seeing those numbers drop on the scale, it can be completely counterproductive to stand on the scale. You can freak yourself out, you can get in your head, and it can send you packing back to a deficit. So if you have a great relationship with the scale, which I don't think a lot of us do, you can track your weight. And remember to look at weekly averages, because fluctuations from day to day are very normal. But remember, muscle weighs something. There's no way that you can build muscle and do a lean bulk without gaining any weight on the scale. So I would say a good range, you would gain between maybe half a kilo a month is probably a good rate to know that you're on track and you aren't going completely balls to the walls. So I would say between half a kilo, maybe up to a kilo on the upper side, but that would be a good range to work from. Or else you just say, you know what, I'm all in and I am doing this lean bulk, and I will deal with the fat gain when, you know, it's time for a cut. Number three is, do not wear your smallest, tiniest, tightest clothes during your bulking phase or your lean bulking phase. This is, again, like number two, it can send you packing back to a deficit if you feel uncomfortable and puffy. And listen, you will feel a little bit uncomfortable. That is part of the process. And let me tell you, a lot of it is mental. You feel way bigger than you are. Like, even if you gain half a kilo, you feel like you're just about to break out of your clothes. But that is also a lot in your muscle tissue. When we are pushing really hard in the gym, you're eating more carbs, we just tend to feel that way. It's really not the reality. But in the same breath, I got a couple of medium gym tights, because some of my small ones, like, you know, only if those days where only if you're feeling like super hot do you wear those. And I was like, actually, I'm not even gonna do that to myself. I'm not even gonna put them on. I wanna be comfortable. If we want our booties to grow, there's no way we're gonna be in the same pants, right? Because then we ain't making that much progress. So be prepared, get a few bigger size pants, like not a few sizes bigger, but just get a couple of pants that are comfy, or wear your most comfy ones, and have a few big, nice baggy shirts. Some days maybe you're having an off day and you just feel like you have a lot of food in your tummy and you want to wear a baggy top, you don't want to wear a crop top. That's absolutely fine. So prepare yourself. Number four is, I really want you to focus on your strength. So this means progressive overload training in the gym. I want you with every session to be trying to either increase your reps, increase your sets or increase your weight, or alternatively focus on perfecting that form. This is the only way to know for sure that you are building new lean muscle tissue, is if you are progressing in the gym and improving your strength. So these work hand in hand. You can't just do lean bulking and be walking on the treadmill. You ain't gonna build any muscle there, girl. Don't be on that cross trainer doing your thing. You need to be doing lean muscle building programs, and I've got an incredible one inside the Lean Body Lab program if you want to check that out. I also have an app called Lift, which you will, once you've done the Lean Body Lab program, you can progress to the Lift app. But there are a lot of incredible weight training programs and people that you can follow online that do them as well. So you have to do progressive overload and focus on getting stronger every week. Use that food. And then number 5 is, I need you to be diligent when it comes to your tracking. So you need to make sure that you're hitting your protein goal. You need to make sure that you are hitting your calorie goal. And this is the tricky thing with being at a maintenance or a slight surplus. And if you are looking for a range on what to do, I would say start with 100 calories over your maintenance. I always go conservative, and you can always push that up if you feel like you aren't gaining a lot of strength in the gym. If you feel like your weight is not going up at all, you can then bump those calories up. So start with 100, 200 calories more than your current maintenance. And here's the thing though, you need to be good on tracking. This does not mean it's a free for all. It doesn't mean that you can eat everything and anything in sight. You actually have to be more diligent with tracking than when you're in a deficit. And that's because your deficit can very quickly, well, when you're in a deficit, you then move into maintenance if you have a couple of bad days or you tend to go over on your calories. When you're in a surplus and then you're not tracking correctly, you're then in like a super surplus, right? And then we're gonna have some unnecessary fat gain, which is not what we're looking for here. So make sure that your tracking is on point. Make sure that now, okay, you get to enjoy some more food, but it has to be tracked. Everything. The licks, the bites, the tastes, all the things, okay? So I hope that those couple of 5 tips helped. So let me recap on those. Number 1 is know your why. Number 2, be prepared for that scale to go up. It's gonna happen. Prepare yourself with some comfy clothes. Number 4, focus on getting stronger in the gym. And number 5, be diligent with that tracking. So I hope that those couple of tips have helped. And if you have been teetering on the idea of doing a lean bulk, I want to encourage you, and I want you to know that it is going to be so worth it. I am really excited for the journey. I'm excited to move into this new phase, something new that I haven't tried yet. And I'm excited to also share the journey with you guys and hopefully, you know, create an epic building program that is also going to help you and get you through all of these mental hurdles that I've also been jumping through. We're all human. We all experience it, even the people that have been in the game for so long. So I'm really looking forward to going along in the journey, taking note of everything and creating something that is going to help you girls too. So let me know down in the comments if you enjoyed the topic of lean bulking, and if you guys do want me to do a couple of more updates on it and tell you how I'm going. And of course, drop any questions down below as well that you have. I'm always here to answer them and help you girls on your lean bod journeys. That is it from me. I will see you guys back here next week. If you haven't subscribed, you know what to do. I love you all very much, and I will check you next week.